Alright guys, in this video I want to talk about how we can convert these GPX files to shape files. So again, we have a ton of GPX files that we downloaded from Strava, and we want to convert it to shape files. So how can we do that using QGIS or open source software like GDAL or OGR? So I wasn't exactly sure how to do this, but I did Google and I found a solution that's working. First, I did cover this with ArcPy, with ArcGIS, and I have this basic script here, and all it's doing is just looping through this directory of GPX files and then calling an ArcPy function on it. So I'll just comment the ArcPy one out, and let me just run this to show you what it's doing. Because I mean, effectively, all we're going to do is instead of calling out to ArcPy, we're going to call out to something else. So the bulk of the script is going to stay the same. So you can see here, it's looping through, and I just have it printing, converting GPX to shapefile. So if you have more questions about how this Python's working, just watch the ArcPy video. Even though I know you might not be trying to learn ArcPy, it's 99% Python and 1% ArcPy, that video. So just watch that to get a better idea of how this is all working. But yeah, let's go back to the problem at hand. So we're trying to figure out how we can convert these GPX files to shape files. So let's just search Google for OGR to OGR convert to shapefile. So I know we're not converting GML, but this is just how I happen to stumble upon this script. So OGR to OGR, it's a popular tool. So if you have any experience with OGR and GDAL, you'll know like the OSGeo shell has this tool called OGR to OGR, and this is basically how you can convert different vector layers. So I have the OSGeo shell here, and I can just say OGR to OGR, and you can see it's this little program here. But I don't want to use the OSGeo shell. I want to use just like straight Python. I don't want to have to rely on this shell. So that's what we're trying to learn here. So this guy is saying grab a copy of the OGR to OGR Python port, which is distributed with the GDAL source code download, or it can be found here. So I wasn't sure what exactly he meant distributed with GDAL source code. So I'm going to just grab the file that they have here. So if we open this in a new file, we have this huge, it's not a huge file, but it's this big long Python script. So I'm going to copy all of this. And in my directory here, the same directory where I have this script, where make sure it's in the same directory, I'm just going to make a new file called OGR to OGR and just paste it all in. Alright, so now we should be able to go back to this main file and just say import OGR to OGR, OGR to OGR, and this import's only going to work if this OGR to OGR Python file is in the same directory as this file. So make sure it's in there, and then let's go back to this post, and then we're just saying we can call out to OGR to OGR by doing this. So if we just copy this and paste it in the same spot where the ArcPy call was, we should be able to run this. So these are just the arguments that's taking. So this is the same if we were to run it with OSGeo shell. If we were to run OGR to OGR, this is just like we're calling out to this, if that makes sense. So we don't want a KML, we want an Esri shapefile. So I forget, OGR to OGR Esri shapefile. I forget that there's a specific name for it. Just bear with me here. I'm looking for a sample. I think it's something like that. Here it is. Just, yeah, Esri shapefile. Alright. So this is going to be our output file. So instead of saying, so it's flip-flopped here. So the ArcPy wants the input, then the output, which that makes more sense to me. But this wants the output file. So we already have the output file constructed here. So that's just going to be the .shp file. And then the input's just going to be the GPX file. So full GPX path. So again, if this doesn't make sense, just watch the other video, but we basically looped through the directory. We made a variable called full GPX path, which is the full path to the GPX file. And then we made an output shapefile, which is basically just the full path to the GPX file with the extension stripped off, and then we just added the .shp shapefile. All right, so let's try that. So we're saying we want to make a new file. Esri shapefile is the driver, the output shapefile, name, and then the input file. So let's just run this. With any luck, should start doing something. So I think all these warnings are okay. So you see it's making these folders called .shp. And if we take a look inside of them, it's making a shapefile for each one of those layers. Remember we saw those layers in QGIS? It's making a new shapefile for each of those layers. So it looks like it worked. It finished with no problem. What is this actually saying? Warning. Yeah, these are just warnings. They're not errors. There's a way we can turn this off so it doesn't show up like this, but it's not an error, so we don't need to worry about that right now. So let me go back to here. Let's remove this, and I'm just going to browse to that new directory. So that was in my downloads folder. All right, here we go, getting closer. So if we just open up a shapefile, for example, and remember the track points is the one that we are interested in. Let's just zoom to this layer, and there we go. We have a track point. Track point. So that one is somewhere else. And cool. So yeah, that's how we do that. Hope that was helpful. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this. So depending on what you're more familiar with, you might just be more familiar with the OSGeo shell, and in that case you can just like make a batch script that does this. But if you like Python and you're interested in doing it with Python, this was the most straightforward, easy way to do it for me. This guy's saying we could do the sub-process module. So this is basically saying just in Python, we could just say, we could call out to our OSGeo shell and basically run this exact shell from Python. So that's one way you can do it. But I just decided to go with this way, and it worked the first time I tried it, so I just stuck with it. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know, and thanks for watching.